As of 6 a.m. my time today, a new Q&A with the developers was posted, sharing with us the developers' thoughts about the future of Rise of Kingdoms and reflecting on some of the changes that have happened recently. So let's get after it, and a big thank you to the makers of Rise of Kingdoms for sponsoring today's video. The first question asked is, this is really more of a statement, add an in-game calculator for total speedups and resources. You know what's kind of funny? But I made a little calculator, like spreadsheet in Excel. I guess it's not Excel, it's Google Sheets these days, right? But I can go in and I can put all the different tokens I have and add it all up, and it takes time. And I do this pretty regularly to see how are my resources, how are my speedups. And it only makes sense to have a calculator in-game rather than having players figure it out on their own. And the developer response is, thanks for your suggestion. An automated in-game calculator for speedups and resources would indeed simplify quick calculations and progress tracking, making event planning, KVK preparation, and overall account progression much smoother. We've taken note of this suggestion and we'll keep it in mind. Yeah, I mean, like, please save my time. Anytime you do that, I am very happy. Add kingdom markers that are visible to the whole kingdom. Dev response. Thank you for your input. We understand that allowing kings and officers to place markers on the kingdom map will significantly improve in communication and tactical planning during events, KVK, and other in-game activities. We'll consider implementing kingdom markers and in the game to enhance coordination and strategy. This feature aims to create a more cohesive and enjoyable gameplay experience for all players. Please stay tuned. So here's the weirdness, right? The weirdness is that not all kingdoms are unified. And there's a weird disjoint between the way the game is kind of intended to be played and the way that players can play the game. So, like, if there's a civil war, like, I mean, yeah, the king could put markers, right? But, like, it's weird, man. It gets weird. But I do think that overall, for the way the game is really designed to be played, kingdom markers would not be a bad thing, all right? Add epic engineering commanders. Dev response, thank you for your suggestion regarding engineering commanders. We understand that the community desires to utilize engineering marches without having to invest gold sculptures. We're excited to share that we already have plans to introduce epic engineering commanders to the game, though a definitive timeline has yet to be established. All right, your patience will be much appreciated while we work toward these new commanders. My thought on this one is that the weirdness of engineering commanders is that you also need the armaments, which are not easy to get. You also need the equipment, which is not cheap to make. So while I'm sure there will be players that will enjoy the addition of epic engineering commanders, I'm locked into my 7 legendary sets of armor. I'm already dropping a bunch to get the armaments I need for the 7 marches I have. I don't think I can branch out even further to do engineering personally. But people do seem to really enjoy it. And I'll have a card up in the top for a video from a player that's all they do is siege. All they do is siege, they're over the moon. New epic commanders. They're like, all right, let's go. Make all museum currency easier to obtain. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? My initial reaction here is that it's unlikely that will happen. Dev response is, thank you for your feedback. Currently, we already have different ways to obtain exhibit and relic coins, such as events, daily objectives, and more. Therefore, we are currently not considering adding additional methods to obtain museum currency at this time. Yeah, I mean, like, you want more museum currency? You can buy it. And there used to be, I think, some different ways to get museum currency. I don't remember if it was more or not, but you're gonna need to save up your museum currency for specific commanders, and we're all starting to run lower and lower on that museum currency when they add multiple levels of relics on some commanders. It will be really nice if when you, I guess, get rid of a museum. Here's what I would ask, actually. If you could sacrifice a museum relic you no longer need and get back the relic currency. I think you get back the exhibit currency, but like that's the currency that everyone has too much of anyways, I think. So it'd be kind of nice if you got back some percentage of those relic coins. I feel like that would be a reasonable ask. Make an option available to upgrade lower tier troops to higher tiers. So T2 to T4. Dev response. After thorough consideration and internal discussion, we've decided not to implement this feature in the near future. One of the primary reasons for this decision is that we do not see a widespread demand for this feature within the community. That's probably true. Our goal is to prioritize features and improvements that address the most significant needs and desires of the majority of players. That said, they'll keep it in mind for future consideration, which, like, probably not going to happen. For Barbarian Forts, there should be a 1-minute rally timer option. Dev response: we appreciate your suggestion. However, Barb Forts are an alliance activity for players to engage in together. While a 1-minute timer exists in Arc, where rallies usually are pre-planned and require quick reaction from players, we consider this option for Barb Forts to be too hectic for daily play. And it's kind of funny. I'll take a little side story here, but I used to play MMORPGs, and I used to spend, like, if you just looked at the time I spent in these games, I would spend hours upon hours upon hours just walking places to do things. And I sort of realized that a lot of the gameplay I had was like a walking simulator. And so I sort of swore to myself I'll never get myself into that situation ever again. Of course, here I am in KVK walking 30 minutes to just get sad-faced after one fight, right? To, you know, like drop a fort or do whatever we're doing. But I think the thing I'll point out about this is that a 1-minute timer would be pretty tricky to get sufficient participation, potentially, depending on how casual your alliance is. Like, super active alliances would definitely take advantage of a 1-minute timer, but most people probably, you know, in their daily play of the game, I don't know. But I like the spirit of the question, which is like, hey, I'm trying to rally Barb Forts, not like play a walking simulator. Would it be possible to make this more about action rather than, you know, waiting? And I like the spirit of what's here, I think, but sounds like no changes to the way that Barb Forts are going to work in Home Kingdom. I would like ways to spend that AP faster, you know, and your options, by the way, are get less value on Barbs or get more value but lose your time on Barb Forts, and that's the trade-off. What's your time worth to you? When creating a new character, allow us to search kingdoms by their number. Can't say I've ever really experienced this problem. Dev response: thank you for sharing your experience on creating new characters. We understand that scrolling through the list can be cumbersome. There are a lot of kingdoms now, and time-consuming, especially for players looking to quickly join a specific kingdom. It's like, I guess, people creating alts and farms. Therefore, we will consider implementing a search function for kingdoms by their number in future updates. This feature will streamline the character creation process, making it quicker and more user-friendly for everyone to create 500 million alt accounts. Joking aside, I don't know. I don't really create accounts all that often. This is like a very rare activity. There are things that we do every day in this game that probably deserve more attention than I would put to this, but whatever. Allow us to multi-select missions in the Alliance Mobilization event or refresh missions faster. Ooh, so, okay, let's talk about Alliance Mobilization. This is unequivocally the most underrated event in the game. The amount of rewards to your kingdom as a whole, or to your alliance as a whole, is more than a Mightiest Governor. It's just spread across a bunch of different players. And it is shocking to me. It is truly, genuinely shocking to me that alliances are not more strict about getting their members to all do all their quests, even if they're doing the free-to-play quests. I mean, like, bro, the amount of value that players are leaking from Alliance Mobilization is jaw-dropping to me. This event is very, very, very good. But you need to, as an officer, if you want to do well, refresh the quests over and 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 over. And I say that like that because it is a huge burden on alliance officers in active alliances that want their alliance to do well, because you don't actually get to pick your quest. You're just given a series of quests. And I don't know if this is like a thing that's designed to promote theoretically player engagement by making you look more frequently at the game. But like, I would spend more money if I could actually just get the spending quest I wanted instead of having to wait and look and see if it was refreshed, and then wait and look and see, and wait and look and see. And then finally I just give up because I'm like, okay, I'll just do the cheaper quest because I don't want to commit more time to wait, looking, and seeing, right? And so I think anything that taxes alliance officers should be a candidate for removal from the game. And I don't think they should remove the Alliance Mobilization event. I'm saying they should remove the need for alliance officers to be refreshing quests, in my opinion. That way, you can get the quest you want. They're not having to spend a bunch of time. And I would have spent more money if I could have picked the higher spend quest personally. So I'm sure there are other people who feel that way, but maybe I'm crazy. The devs say, thank you for your suggestion. We do indeed see the need for potential changes to the mission system in Alliance Mobilization. That's awesome. Fantastic. We're currently planning to make adjustments to ensure a better experience at the event. That's awesome. Hopefully they are looking at the same thing I'm looking at, which is that the Alliance officer time consumption for the event is astronomical, and also the player time consumption for that event is either going to be higher, or players may not spend as much as they would have, or do a quest that would have been more involving because they can't get it to pop up and somebody else takes the quest that you wanted. And like the general rewards here are very good though. Okay. Great event, great addition to the game. Implement a commander countdown in the museum, as is the case on the daily special offer commander section page. So I would say not, as is the case on the daily special offer page, because the daily special offer page countdown, last I checked, is like 7 days, 5 days, isn't it? Like, I want to know 30, 60, 90 days in advance. Now we'd be cooking. Let me know 90 days in advance that a new museum buff's coming. I mean, ain't no way, right? Dev response, thank you for providing your feedback. We understand that a countdown to players to see the next museum commander in advance would be helpful. Like, okay, so the developers know, we see that would help you. And they say, we've added this to our list of future optimizations. Expect to see a commander countdown in the museum in future updates. Cool. I would say this is like not actually important unless they put that countdown at like 30, 60, 90 days. If they put it at 7 days, it's like, I mean, okay. I mean, it's better than nothing, but like, it's not really helping with my planning with a 7-day countdown. Not really. I mean, it's a little. If you're about to fight in KVK, maybe. And by the way, I mean, if you've watched any number of my videos, you know that hoarding and then going big right before a big fight is kind of the way to go because the meta can change. So, you know, if you're about to fight, invest in your museum commanders that you're going to fight with, obviously. But if you're not fighting, don't max out museum commanders. That currency is limited. We talked about that earlier, right? You're not getting that currency back. So wait until you're about to fight, then do your invest, and hopefully this timer goes further out than 5 or 7 days, all right? Up next, revert the changes to dot mode and make effects such as hospital warnings visible. The first part of this, I can't imagine why they would say this. The recent changes to dot mode are amazing. You can basically get like a little sliver of a line to represent your allies, which is way better than things you could accidentally click on instead of targeting enemies. Huge, huge, huge upgrade that improved visibility. And also, I played with this for hours on end in Kingsland. Very important fighting, right? The new dot mode is phenomenal. I mean, imagine in 2024 playing a game where you're just looking at dots, right? And now we have actual visual indicators of the troops, and also the thing you're fighting will show its health, which also shows that you're fighting a thing. You're actually targeting a thing, doing damage to that thing. So I can't imagine why they would want to revert dot mode, but it is totally crazy to me that you can't see your hospital warnings, right? Because if I can't see my hospital warning, I could lose hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of troops. Just gone, permanently lost forever. I mean, if you told a younger version of me that I'd play a game where I would permanently lose stuff, I would have been like, ain't no way, son. I mean, technically I did like PvP in games, you know, old school games like Ultima Online, and you permanently lost stuff, and you lost account progress, which was actually kind of insane. But that was different because you couldn't buy it. Maybe you could, I just didn't know about it at the time. But anyways, the response is, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We acknowledge the importance of the hospital warning icon being visible during combat and agree it is essential for effective gameplay. After careful consideration, we have decided to revert the changes to ensure that effect icons remain visible in the zoomed out mode. I think this is one of the best changes they've made to the game to do this dot mode stuff. And my hope would be that the developers don't sort of put the flag in the moon and go, we did it. We've landed on the moon. We're done now. I would hope, I don't know why going to the moon is like the thing that I used as my metaphor here, but like, this is not done yet. It's great. It's way better than it was. And just shooting from the hip, genuinely, I bet you I come up with 3 improvements for dot mode that would make it better. Improvement number 1, and I am literally doing this on the fly. Improvement number 1 would be to make it so that when you're in dot mode, you cannot see clouds. I don't need clouds blocking my view. I'm trying to fight. Improvement number 2 will be to make it so that instead of like zooming and then you like sometimes go too far out, such that you can't actually right-click on the enemies, instead you walk places. Make that not a thing anymore. If I'm too far zoomed out, make it so that I can't see units anymore. So I know, like, hey, you've zoomed out too much, you can't fight anymore from this view. Right-clicking is not going to be fighting anymore. There needs to be an indicator that I've zoomed too far. And although this could be a separate tip, a bonus tip for that would be that it would be nice if we could zoom out to exactly the most zoomed in I could be while still being in dot mode. See what I mean? I want to be the most zoomed in possible while still activating the dot mode, okay? And I want to push a button, have it. Today, it's like I go out, I go in, it's like I'm there, I'm not there. Am I there? I don't know. Am I close to zoomed in? I think I am, maybe I'm not. What I have observed is that when you're in dot mode, you only see a portion of your screen. Like the outer perimeter of your screen doesn't even load, which I assume is for lag reasons. But like, if I can't load the outside of my screen to get more vision to what's happening anyways, and enemy marchers aren't showing up on that, then what I want is to actually be more zoomed in. Like I want dot mode to be taking up a bigger portion of the screen so that I can actually click with more accuracy, right? And like, it feels like I'm playing the game with like a microscope, right? But I have all this screen real estate that's not being used, and I'd like to use it to like see the combat. That's what I would do. That's literally 3 improvements from the hip. I mean, I've thought about this before, but like, if you ask me, you know, could you do something else to dot mode? There's 3 things that would be yet another similar level of escalation or elevation of like improving the experience of playing the game, in my opinion, okay? So all that to say, I love this direction so much so that I'd love to see them keep going in this direction. And I think it's great that they're like, oh yeah, hey, wait a minute, hospital indicator. Yes, you need that. The sooner we get that, the better, although my KVK fighting is done for a while. So like, you know, they get to it when they get to it and it doesn't impact me imminently. And I will say, I didn't have any troops die because of this, but there were multiple times where I kind of panic zoomed in to see like, oh, hey, wait a minute, is my hospital cleared? Did I clear that? Hey, yo. Anyways, if you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, consider subscribing. I always try to cover the dev feedback when it goes live, and I am generally hyped for this direction with the game. I am expecting a new Civilization announcement soon-ish. It's that time of year, baby, where we should be getting a new Civilization. So it should be cool. And if you want to see me battling in KVK with this dot mode, cards in the end screen, it is really, really transformative. Until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom. Take care, everybody.